Were you a big fan, Chloe, of SNL growing up?
I totally was. I actually, when I was home for the holidays, my mom converted all our VHSs onto DVDs, and I found this DVD of me as like a 3-year-old and SNL playing in the background. I think SNL especially was like, growing up as a girl, was like one of the few places that really, really had funny women that I could watch, especially when I was in like middle school and high school. So that was a gift.
Fineman.
I want to go back in time just for a minute to say, how did you get this gig and what did you do to impress Lorne Michaels?
I went to NYU and I wanted to be Meryl Streep.
Oh, well, it's delicious.
So I did classical theater for 4 years, and like really only dramatic acting, like always crying. And then I moved to LA and it was like, oh, we don't do that here. And so I just started improv truly to make friends. I had no ambition in it. And then I just kind of fell in love with it. And then one thing led to another. And then next thing I knew, I was like in New York. All I remember from my audition was like frantic, practicing like how to do the wig quickly. And I was the only one who showed up with wigs. And I really, in retrospect, would not have done the wigs, but
why?
Because it was so much business and you only have 5 minutes, and I probably used like at least 2 of them being like, okay, and and
who did you do in your audition?
So at the time, Big Little Lies was all the rage, which was a gift for a white lady like myself. So I did a bunch of people auditioning for Big Little Lies.
You made me laugh.
Did you know right away that you crushed it, or what did you think?
Usually they say people don't laugh. I specifically remember Lauren laughing at Greta Gerwig, and I was like, oh.
I'm Greta Gerwig. I actually didn't study film.
And that got a laugh, and I was like, oh, okay.
You mentioned improv, Chloe, and your dad, as you mentioned, was a biotech executive, but he used to take you to improv classes when you were like 2.
Yep. Welcome to San Francisco, California. We do it all.
Nothing I do is even a fraction of good enough for you.
Yeah, because I have standards.
His background was wanting to pursue improv comedy. And I remember like Rob Schneider would take the class. So he was always this really interesting, like improv funny guy in like business suit, dealing with people like Elizabeth Holmes.
What higher purpose is there in changing the world?
Now, tell me about your creative process, Chloe. How do you figure out who you're going to do and how you're going to do it?
Now, because of like internet and topical stuff, it's usually like whoever my friends and I are talking about a lot.
Saoirse Ronan. Women have hearts and minds as well as souls, and I'm just so sick of being told otherwise. And then Timothy Chalamet is like, wait, Joe, I lived you my whole life.
And then I'll either have the wig or find the wig. The wig is important, and then it's a lot of just practicing and watching a lot of videos.
You have a collection, Chloe, of over 100 wigs. Do you have a favorite?
My favorite wig would probably be Uli's wig.
Some people like your impersonations more than others. Carol Baskin wasn't too keen on it, right?
Yeah, she really wasn't at all.
What happened?
We were literally watching Tiger King in the pandemic.
Yo, you cool cats and kittens. It's Carole.
Immediately, I was like, I have the wig. And I obviously wear a lot of animal prints. And I kind of wanted to do it before other people started doing it because I knew that everyone was going to be doing Carol Baskin. So I kind of rushed into it.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carol Baskin.
And then SNL let me do it on the show. And I guess what really happened is I wanted to do a song. So first I pitched it as like a Carol Baskin rap, but it was like, running around on my kitty cat lake, on my kitty cat bike, and I didn't kill my husband.
I like to ride by the big, big kitties and the little baby.
And I guess she joined Cameo and everyone wanted her to do that. And I think she actually, I'm sure, and I want to find those cameos of her doing this horrible song I made her sing.
Drew Barrymore definitely loved the impersonation you did of her, and so much of that has to do with her mouth, correct?
Yeah, she is her mouth, and it's also her hands.
Hello to all my beautiful wildflowers.
But there's a little bit of a lisp there too, I know.
There is a lisp, yes, but I think it's her using words to prove a point, like, kind of thing.
Reese Witherspoon loved your imitation of her.
Hello, it's Reese. It's a little embarrassing, but I just wanted to hop on and talk about Emmy for consideration this year.
It's her mouth and it's her cadence, and yeah, she's got like, it's sort of her like attitudinal. I think it was the way she said murder in an interview with Oprah once. She was like, I just want to like murder. I love Oprah. Yeah, it is her mouth actually. Yeah, I do her mouth and her cadence and
her accent.
And her accent, yeah.
And what did she say? What was the message you got from her? Did she call you?
I know, but it was a DM and it was very, very nice. And she's like, she really like supports women, and I think say what you will, about the internet and that documentary on Netflix that's telling people to get off their phones. For me, it's also had a flip side of like really being supported, and I get to meet you. And as soon as we started this, I was like, oh, I got to do a Katie Couric impression.
The only person who's impersonated me is Amy Poehler, and apparently I blink a lot.
And you would be like, hi, Chloe, kind of like, so if you have like a cadence that I will perfect.
If you guys like what you see, subscribe right here.